Okay, raindrops. Now look, I don't know why the mere presence of her face makes me holler, which is a compliment. She is my girl. She's a raindrop favorite. Y'all love her. Some of y'all love to read her, but we don't take it personally. That's why, listen, she and I get along because she and I can read each other and be like, hey, so what you doing later? Like, we don't take nothing personally. So we're going to talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, but we're going to do it in a different way. But first, let me introduce my very special guest. Yes, Jazz, the journalist. Give it up for Jazmine Henley Brown.
Hello. Oh, I'm so happy to be back so soon. Thank you so much for calling the doll.
You are the most requested guest.
Can I say something really quickly? Our last episode, some of the comments, they were so sweet. So I really want to thank everybody that had a sweet comment. I really like to focus on the positive, and it was like overwhelmingly positive. So I'm so thankful. Thank you guys so much. I really love being here. And yeah, just thank you. Some of the comments were so nice.
No, listen, people love you because you're genuine. You speak your mind and you're not doing it for a moment. You're not like a certain peach holder who like to do things for a moment and then the moment backfires on them, child. So the good thing, child, we already started.
Right.
No shade, but no, you are genuine. And Real Housewives of Atlanta is the talk of the town for various reasons. And I don't want this to be a recap of the previous episode because this is no shade. I am not trying to recap every episode saying the same things over and over.
Mm-hmm.
I until the episode to me is like fun and is great, I may not give y'all a recap, but we shall see how things go. But this last episode, child, no ma'am, Pamela. But Jazmine, I gotta ask you this. Have you been watching this season after you gave the season 15 premiere of the Real Housewives of Atlanta a D?
I have a group chat with some friends, and all we talk about is TV, right? And they have to remind me on Mondays, like, hey, we're going to talk about RHOA. And then I'm like, oh, it did come on. And so then I go back and I watch it. So I have been keeping up with it. I watched the episode from Sunday last night because I was going to come and talk about you and I wanted to be up to date. But is it must see TV for me? No.
Why
And
is
does my
that?
it's not fun anymore. It's not fun for me anymore. I don't feel connected to them in the way that I thought I would always feel connected to them. Just before this season aired, when the trailer came out, I was like, look, these women are like my big sisters, my aunties. I'm rocking with them till the wheels fall off. Like I'm rolling with them. And then the season started and I'm like, I can't I can't do it. Not willingly, at least. I've been, like I said, in order to provide commentary and talk about it, I have been. But it's not been a fun watch for me. It's mainly watching to be able to talk about like just how much fun I'm not having watching it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's unpack this a little bit. So I gave the premiere episode an A minus. Jazmine gagged and said, bitch, you are being way too generous. And I was like, well, maybe I'm biased because the Martell thing was interesting to me for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Sheree. The second episode, I was like, ugh, okay. And then the third one, I was like, no, ma'am, Pam. This these listen, it is what it is. These past couple of episodes have not been great, and people are talking about the ratings. And I want to do a deep dive on ratings with you. The ratings of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Last week's episode was the lowest. It was in the 600s. It was a series low. In the 15 years that the Real Housewives of Atlanta has been on since October of 2008, they have reached the lowest rating 15 years later, which sounded the alarm that something needs to happen. And again, I'll do a deep dive into ratings later because I have my own expertise on that I want to share with the audience.
Please.
But there has been a sounding of the alarm, Jazmine, similar to you, that people are doing one or two things. They're not watching it in real time anymore because they don't feel like it's must-see TV. When you think about the ratings of Vanderpump Rules, I'm not somebody who watched the show. I'm somebody who has a serious case of FOMO.
As you should, because
right?
Get into it.
Let's get into it, right? So look, everybody was talking about Vanderpump Rules and the Scandal drama. So I started watching it, and I didn't watch it the next day because I wanted to watch it the moment it came on live so that I wasn't going to be, I wasn't missing out based on Twitter watching it before me. So that's a good example of why Vanderpump Rules ratings have reached 2 million in one live setting, which Jazmine is unheard of. But Real Housewives of Atlanta to a lot of people is not must-see TV anymore. And you have been writing for the show since day one. What is wrong with the show?
It's fake. There's no real insight into the people whose personal lives we really want to see. They're not giving us anything, and that's specifically Kenya Moore. Like, you are going through, or you've been going through a divorce right now, and we haven't seen much of it. You're dating. I don't know if we're going to see her date this guy, Roy, later on in the season, but you're dating. We don't see that. And the other people we just don't care about. If I'm being completely honest with it, like, I think NeNe said it best when she was on The Breakfast Club. There is a lack of star power, but I raise you this. I love Kenya. We talk about Kenya all the time. I love Kenya. If there is like Kenya. A prototype of a reality television star, like, Kenya fits the bill. She's not showing up though. And I think she's not showing up because she's not given, it's an ensemble cast. She's not being given like the proper cast members to like play off of and like go toe to toe with and volley off of. She has Marlo, but Marlo is not anybody's formidable opponent because Marlo is going to take the very worst thing that has ever happened to you in your life and she's going to stab you with it. She's not going to just go back and forth light shade reading you and making it fun and witty. She's just going to go straight for your jugular. So Marlo isn't a great opponent for Kenya. And nobody else on the cast is either. So we aren't able to see Kenya kind of activated in the best way that we have seen her before. And so for that reason, I'm going to agree with Lanithia that the show is just lacking that star power that it once had. Woo! How about you?
Okay. Let's go there. So I agree with you about Kenya in terms of Kenya Moore is the quintessential reality star who is amazing when she has a formidable opponent. We love Kenya, let's be very clear, because her and Phaedra would get into it, her and NeNe would get into it, and baby, her and Portia would get into it. And you can say what you want about the dolls. NeNe, Phaedra, and Portia are stars.
100%.
They're stars.
100%.
And one thing I know about Kenya, also working on the show, Kenya likes a fix. You know how like your Uncle Pookie who does crack wants the fix in the alley near the St. Ides bottles and the thrown away KFC bucket. So Kenya likes a fix. Kenya likes, if you're not going to give Kenya something, she doesn't know what to do because Kenya likes to get her rocks off. And I'm going to say this and I'm going to reveal this. When season 8 first started, I was too busy starting my production company. So I didn't start season 8. They had another showrunner. Long story short, they asked me to come back. I met with the girls. Kenya said, I'm bored. Can you bring on somebody I could have fun with? And I said to her, I'm going to bring Sheree with me. Long story short, I brought Sheree to season 8 because I knew that Sheree was a great housewife, but I also knew that Sheree and Kenya would be delicious. So that's why you guys saw the first scene of season 8 where they were on the rooftop of Cynthia Bailey's event and Sheree walks in wearing all black and her and Kenya get into about the house wars, and Sheree almost threw a drink on Kenya. Kenya wants to make sure that you're getting your money's worth. And when it comes to Marlo, I have something to say to you.
Okay.
I spoke to Marlo.
Oh, because you did go in on Marlo.
I go in.
Come on. I know she cussed your ass out. What did she say?
Well, look, I can't tell you everything.
Okay.
At least not on camera. No. Call me Atlanta housewife. I'll tell you off camera. Anyways, yeah, I digress. But anyways, I did speak to Marlo. I spoke to Marlo because I'm somebody who cares about the show. I care about her, and I care about the show being great. Despite what y'all want to think, I do care about the show being great. I called Marlo myself and said to Marlo how I felt about her performance this season. And what I will say is Marlo thanked me. She thanked me. She thanked me. I can't give too much details, but she thanked me. And she also said that she really appreciates that I called to check in on her, but to also give her advice. And I think the thing with Marlo is, you're right. Marlo doesn't know how to throw shade without throwing the entire tree where Adam and Eve was up under with the apples, child, and want to make sure that you match the freaking lawn with the tree. And Marlo has to work on that. But my question for you is, do you think it was a bad idea to make Marlo a housewife?
That's a loaded question. Because particularly when I was your executive producer, right? And she came on and we were talking to her, you were talking to her about how important it was for her to be a peach holder and how she always really felt unaccepted because she didn't feel like she was good enough, or she felt like the rest of the cast looked at her like she wasn't good enough to hold a peach, right? And I feel like the way she's been acting since she's gotten her peach has kind of proven their theory. But I don't necessarily know that it was a bad idea to make her a housewife. I think Marlo has to be honest. And I think in ways she has to be honest about like where she is. Marlo very, very desperately wants to be accepted and liked by Kenya and Kandi, right? That's just point blank period. Anytime she experiences even a little rejection from the two of them, it sends her into this kind of Marlo that we don't want to see. Okay. But when she does get a little bit of acceptance from them, it's the Marlo we want to see on the Atlanta Housewives. And so I think that's what's happening here, is like she is not being accepted into the Cool Girls Club. And as far as the Real Housewives of Atlanta is concerned, it is Kandi and Kenya are kind of at the top of that food chain, right? And everybody else is like, Marlo doesn't care if she's friends with Drew. She doesn't care if she's friends with anybody else. I'm forgetting the cast.
Sonya.
Oh my gosh. Sonya, by the way, I love that look with the bang and you look so pretty with that look. But yeah, Marlo doesn't really care about being friends with them. She wants to be accepted by the big dogs. And I get it because she's been around them for so long in a reduced capacity. So now she's like, we should be on a level playing field. But Kandi and Kenya, they're not seeing it for her right now, and it's partially Marlo's fault. So to answer your question, that was a very long-winded answer. I don't think it was a bad idea to make Marlo a peach. I think Marlo needs to be honest about why she is having such a negative reaction to not being accepted by Kandi and Kenya.
But it's what you said. You know, if you look at the Real Housewives of Atlanta as the Mean Girls movie, you know, you can decide who Regina George is. I would say it's Kenya. Regina George is Kenya Moore, and it is what it is. And I did say this to Marlo on, you know, to her face over the phone, in addition to on my podcast. I said that you are looking for Kenya's acceptance, and it's pretty obvious, and you're hurt. And the one thing that I wish could have happened is this: break the fourth wall and have Marlo's storyline be, I don't feel accepted by you ladies. I feel like y'all look down on me because of my criminal past. I'm from the foster system. I'm used to being rejected by people. I'm used to feeling rejected by people I love. I love you ladies. And I feel like now that I have a seat at the table, you guys don't want me here. And that bothers me. It makes me sad. I feel like if Marlo ever gave that level of sensitivity, I strongly believe, Jazmine, the entire world would rise up and say, okay, we get it. Because at the end of the day, let's all be real. Everybody in the world has had an experience where you wanted to be accepted. Everybody has.
Absolutely.
In school, at a job, your boss, a celebrity, everybody knows what it feels like to want to be accepted. So that to me is what we call a relational personal story. Marlo having these outbursts, instead of saying what's on her mind, is causing Marlo to come across unlikable and is doing a disservice to her having a peach and is doing a disservice to the show. Yes. And the sad part is this. Unfortunately, from my vantage point, I don't think it's going to get better for the rest of the season.
I don't think so either. I don't have high hopes for it. Not to pile on to Marlo, but just to kind of wrap up my thoughts on her. I think the first time I talked to you about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, we talked about Marlo. And we talked about the fact that since her and Kenya both share this trauma of not having their mothers, Marlo thinks that her and Kenya should be close because they should be able to bond because of that fact, right? They both have experienced unfathomable rejection by their moms. And I think Marlo is so hurt because she looks at Kenya like, we are both hurting daughters. And you should want to, kind of lock arms with me. And we should be able to walk through dealing with this trauma as adult women together. And you're not doing that. And that hurts the little girl inside of me, right? So if Marlo would just say that, and then not act nasty, though, because that's the other part. Is like, yes, Marlo can be honest and express how she feels, but that has to be followed up with changed behavior. So if she said that and then we didn't see her act with such like vitriol towards Kenya, I think the tide would change and people's opinions would change about her. But you can't, try to get us to sympathize with you, and then you go on and then you're so nasty. We're confused as an audience. Like you said, she's not being likable. It's cheapening the show, to be frank. It is because that whole last episode with her banging on the door, the preview that we had, her like slamming the door on Monyetta. It's just like, babe, we not on Zeus Network. Oh. And there's no shade because there's an audience for everyone. But I'm watching Bravo. I'm watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta. There has been a standard now, regardless of who else you feel like might have cheapened the show, because we've had some others in the past. But right now, in the present day, what Marlo is doing is it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the mandate. It pains me though, Carlos, because I feel like I'm witnessing the death of one of my favorite shows, and I'm sad about that. So RIP to the Atlanta that I used to know, the Real Housewives of Atlanta that I used to know.
Not me knocking my microwave. First of all, you do not have a candy gal.
I have a triangle. You have a
triangle. And is that a Phaedra Parks funeral home glove you're wearing? Willie Watkins style?
It is. I got this from the Phaedra Parks mortuary collection. I went to the Phaedra Parks mortuary school for girls, okay? And I got my glove.
We're both wearing black. So are we at a funeral today?
We're in mourning. Our girls are on the sick and shut in list. Okay. We're in mourning. We're gonna have the fume. We're gonna have the repast. I'm making the potato salad, but you vegan, so you just bring the cups. You're just gonna bring the cups.
The Riz Solo cup.
Yes. But yeah, I don't see myself I'm not excited about going on with the rest of the show. I don't see myself getting excited unless they pull a Real Housewives of New York on us and they give us.
So let's go there. Let's go there. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I'm gagging in real time. Give me a moment. Okay. I'm actually in real life gagging. Okay. Sorry. Because I wasn't expecting that. So, what do you think needs to happen for the Real Housewives of Atlanta to be appointment television for you? Because remember back in the day, you could not tell anybody to have dinner on a Sunday at 8 o'clock outside of the house.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, bitch, I'm not going anywhere. I have to watch Atlanta. I remember season 9, Jazz. Solange Knowles tweeted how much she loves the Real Housewives of Atlanta during season 9. And season 9, Jazz, was the whole thing with Phaedra, Candy, Portia, that whole thing. And obviously Kenya and Matt, Cynthia and Peter divorcing. It was a lot of stuff going on. Solange talked about it. I will never forget this, Jazz. The episode where Candy and Portia had their one-on-one and they talked about, you want to lick my until I whatever.
Yeah.
Kelly Rowland was tweeting and somebody asked her, are you watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta right now? She retweeted it with eyeball emoji. I'm gonna say this too. One of my homegirls is a Black actress and she is an A-list Black actress. She used to call me and say, bitch, give me all the tea about Atlanta Housewives. She hasn't called me in a couple of years.
Wait, hold on. Before we, is that A-list? Is that Halle Berry? Because
no!
Okay.
Oh, honey, I wish.
The people are dying to know.
Honey, I wish. No, she definitely somebody that has been in movies and network television and has been #1 on the call sheet.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yes. Look, like a peach holder, I'll tell you off camera. So, anyways, yes. I do think this. I think the show is missing an anchor.
Mm-hmm.
I remember working with the likes of NeNe Leakes, and at the end of the day, and I want y'all to quote me on this, every last one of those girls during the NeNe Leakes reign, they all respected her as the OG, and they all, and this is no disrespect to them because they'll agree with me, they all fell in line. NeNe controlled the atmosphere, not in a dominating way, but every reality show needs an anchor. It needs somebody who's able to say, hey, let's get back on track, let's do this, or we can argue and go toe to toe, but at the end of the day, when that person says, let's do this, they all say, let's do it, bitch. And they don't have that on this show this season, to me.
No, I agree with you. They don't have that. I will take it a step further because you talked about NeNe, Portia, Phaedra all being stars. I think they're stars in this type of setting, right? The ensemble cast, they kind of rise to the top of the pack, right? And I think that when we talk about people being stars in this sense, we are talking about them in an ensemble, because I do think all of those ladies that we mentioned, they have struggled when they've gotten off of this bus and gone to do other things. Nothing has been quite, as successful for them in terms of TV as the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And that can be said for housewives across every city, right? They are their best when they're in these ensemble casts and they have each other to really play off of. I loved the days of NeNe and Portia being friends. Like that, for me, some of my favorite moments on TV were them together, right? And so they all need each other. So when I say right now, this cast, they don't have any stars on there, it's not that anything is wrong with these people. I just think they don't have the right ensemble. And so we aren't able to see these people at their very best. I have one more thing to say about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I have to correct myself from the last time I was on. I don't hate Courtney on the show.
Oh, breaking news 911. You called Courtney, and I quote, a chop. Yes.
I did. But look, Carlos, I'm reversing it.
Oh, wait. Is that not a reverse chop?
I'm
Okay.
reversing it.
Spill the tea. How do you feel about Courtney?
I'm here's the thing. I still think she's coming on a little too strong, but as each episode passes, I'm watching and I'm like, she doesn't have the worst dynamic for this cast. Like something about her for me, as I see her more, I'm like, it kind of feels okay. It kind of feels right to me. And so I want to go on record. And Courtney, I was very harsh on you in the premiere episode. I thought you came on a little too strong, but I'm changing my tune.
But you know what? I love that about you because you know the essence of reality. You're only as good as your last episode. So
Mm-hmm.
you can start off a season not liking somebody and then towards the middle to the end, you love them. So the thing with Courtney is this. I wish I could see more of her personal story.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to know who she is because look, when you have a strong personality, it helps when we get to see different sides of you when you're not being one note. And I think Courtney needs that. Also, listen, you may disagree with me because we haven't talked about this. I like Monyetta because I feel like the show needs to represent, as you said earlier, does the show need to go through its New York City reboot where you get a whole new cast? But because the old cast did not represent the new New York City of 2023,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like what this show may also need is what represents Atlanta in 2023. And you and I are both young enough to know that there's a sector of Black women in Atlanta
And
that
I'm
does not.
younger.
You said what?
I said, and I'm younger.
By a couple of years. Look, not by much, bitch, but by.
I'm sorry, continue. I did not mean to cut you off.
It's okay, honey. I love a good read when it comes to me. Um, it's hard for any show to last 15 years and expect it to be what it used to be. I look at the Kardashians, and I'm gonna say this right now. I don't think I'm gonna watch this season of Kardashians after that premiere episode, and I'm gonna say this to you why. And yes, I'm gonna get into Love and Marriage Huntsville because I'm so honest about my shit that I don't have a problem telling y'all my issues with stuff. So we'll get to Huntsville in a second. But Atlanta has been on for 15 years. It's hard for a show to last that long and it to be as great as it is with some people remaining the same. The
Absolutely.
Kardashians is a family ensemble, right? They've also been on the air for 15 years. The Kardashian was a great show because they were on the verge of superstardom, and they still had this level of vulnerability, and they gave you access to everything. We saw Kim Kardashian break up with Reggie Bush on a phone.
I remember that.
You do?
I remember that. Yeah. Listen, I used to watch the Kardashians and be like, when they were on E, I would be telling my friends, like, our sisters are on, like, let's go watch our sisters on TV. I loved that show in the early days. I loved it.
Oh, you had Khloe dealing with Lamar. You had Courtney and Scott. Scott breaking a window and Courtney telling Scott, "I love Mason more than I love you." We saw Bruce turn into Caitlyn.
I stopped watching by the time. I didn't watch any of them have children. I had stopped watching by then, but yes.
Oh, you started early. So the problem is that so you haven't watched them on Hulu.
No, I stopped watching them when they were on E.
Because of what?
They became too hyper aware of being produced and they were producing themselves. It stopped being fun for me a while ago for the show. I've enjoyed them as like these mega viral celebrities and personalities. Lots of admiration for the kind of empire that they've built on the back of Kim Kardashian's back. Okay. I love it. But the show for me, it was once they hit, a certain point in their celebrity. And it's like they were so hyper aware of everything and how people will perceive them. It just became stale for me. So I stopped watching. But I remember watching Kim try to whoop Chloe's ass with that big ass purse when she came
Yeah.
in the door. I remember exactly. Don't be fucking rude. I remember that. Yeah, no, I loved that show back in the day.
The show lost its momentum the moment Kim married Kanye because you married at that time this global international superstar. And I remember talking to one of my best friends, like, are we going to see Kanye West on a reality show? And the moment Kim married Kanye was the moment they all said, we can't give y'all everything anymore because it affects Kim's business with Kanye. And that to me was when the show lost its luster. So I also look at, listen, I'm going to talk about my show. My show, Huntsville's been on for 6 years. I already know what needs to happen on Huntsville. I'm already thinking about next season. Because when you have a show that has been on, and again, 6 years and 15 years is half of the order. I even 6 seasons in, Jazmine, is saying to myself, you got to do something different. You just have to. So I know even on my own stuff that there's certain moments that I'm like, I can't tell this same story over and over again. I can't. These relationships aren't what they used to be when the show started 6 years ago. Something has to give and something has to change. I'm already thinking about that for next season, and we're still shooting. But I'm already thinking about the future of Huntsville, right? So this is no shade to just Atlanta. All producers needs to do that. And that's the reason why I wanted to bring up the example of Huntsville. I wanted to bring up the example of the Kardashians because it is hard to do, but a drastic change has to happen for Atlanta. And I want to move on to another show, but I want to end with this. Do you think, as we're talking about Zeus, Zeus, love it or hate it, Zeus is the moment. Okay. It's the moment for a sector of a population who enjoys that intense level of drama. And I don't think the Bravo audience wants that. But when it comes to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, what do you think, Jazz? Does it need to be a show about the OG so we can get that real dynamic of the stars as a collective being back together again? Or do you think it needs a fresh reboot, start over again, and have the show represent the new age of women and couples in Atlanta?
We need to start over. I'll be honest with you. I don't know that I even need like a legacy portion because where these women are, they don't want us in their business like that. Like that's just point blank. They don't want us involved in like the day-to-day aspects of their relationships, of them like raising their children. And I'm talking about the people that when you think of a legacy of Atlanta, you know, NeNe, Portia, Phaedra, Kenya, they don't really want us involved in that. And I'm okay with us saying, you know, our farewells to them. As much as I love them on TV, if you get to a certain point in your life where you don't want people picking apart every little thing, you got to say bye to the cameras. And I'm fine with us completely starting over in Atlanta. I'm fine with us getting a new batch of women that we don't know at all, or maybe keeping a couple. Because I'll tell you this, Drew Sidora, I've been notoriously harsh on Drew. If they were going to do a younger, a newer Atlanta, but want to keep somebody as a bridge to kind of what we are watching now, I wouldn't mind them keeping Drew as that person. Because I think Drew would probably fare better with a different ensemble. I know.
Woo!
Look, I'm changing all my stripes in this episode. I read Courtney before I've changed on Courtney. Drew, yeah.
But tell me why with Drew. I'm intrigued.
Drew is on the cusp of a divorce, right? And I'm not saying Jazmine, we said we don't care about fights that are meaningless. We don't care about you slamming a door at somebody. Like, I don't care about that. Jazmine hit the nail on the head. We want personal story. Drew getting a divorce from Ralph is going to give you Melody Martell hope back in the day, because you know that Ralph is going to speak his mind. Listen, I don't care about Drew throwing doggy treats at somebody. I want to know what happened. I want to know if you ever found out what the hell he was doing in Tampa. I want to know that. And if you're going through a divorce, you're gonna mention it all, hopefully. Right. So if we're anchoring Drew for like this new younger Atlanta, this is the new girls in Atlanta. Keep Drew, bring Drew over.
Can I say something to you?
Yeah, of course.
Between us girls.
Yeah.
And the raindrops. Allegedly, Drew was brought on because they wanted Drew to be amongst Eva Marcel and LaToya from Baby. That's the reason. So when Drew got on and Eva, I'll just say Eva wasn't there anymore. I'm not about to get into who got fired because Lord knows I don't need nobody to be calling me and DMing me. When Drew hopped on and Eva wasn't on the show anymore and neither was LaToya, that's why Drew doesn't make sense. In real life, just so you know, Eva and Drew are girls.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Eva's going through a divorce from a sin. I want to know what in the world it feels like to be a potential senator's wife. What was that like when you're on this show that some people consider to be ratchet? Not me, not you. People consider that show to be ratchet. What was that like for your man running for politics? Like, what was that relationship like? I said on my podcast, Jazz, in my opinion, I felt like Eva, every girl at some point in their lives, like, let me date the nice guy. Let me settle down, date the nice guy. And I felt that Eva allegedly was like, I just want something different. So you're smart because to see Drew with Eva, and listen, unpopular opinion, if you believe Twitter is real, I like LaToya. I like a young Atlanta, because again, LaToya is a YouTube star. That is who is running Atlanta in 2023. It's the real estate agents, it's the podcast hosts, it's the YouTube stars, it's that sector of women. It's not these girls who are famous or made money because of a Bravo check.
That's interesting. I wouldn't add LaToya to this. Nothing against her, but I wouldn't add her to this. I would do Drew. I would do Eva. I would bring Shamari back. And then I would get, a couple other main cast and some friends of if we're going to go the Real Housewives of New York route where we're doing this like kind of younger demographic. But yeah, I want to see personal stories. And I think I want to get to know people who aren't afraid to let us get to know them. Because we're not getting more, like I said this about Giselle on Potomac, we're not getting any more from Giselle than we've gotten. We're never gonna get another, more insight into her dating life. We're never gonna get anything deeper than what she has given us. The same can be said with Kenya. As much as I want to understand what the dynamic has been like with this like multi-year divorce from Mark, she's not gonna give us that, and she doesn't owe me that. But I am owed some personal story on a reality television show that I'm watching. So give me some ladies who are willing to let us in.
The show that I feel like is doing a good job at showing us something different and fresh is Summer House, Martha's Vineyard. I want to hear from you. I'm enjoying Summer House. I like seeing a group of young Black professionals who are living in a house together, trying to have fun, but also get to know this dynamic, because I don't care if you're 15, 25, 35, or 55. Every last one of us has been on a friend's trip where you may be my friend, but you're also friends with these other people. But for a weekend, we're going to all hang out, and you get to see these dynamics of, I like you, bitch, but I don't like this one over here. And you get to see that. Sorry, guys, I'm enjoying Summer House, but if we're looking at live day ratings, it appears that you guys aren't watching it. And I need to know why, because you're begging for a show that shows a group of young Black millennials who are professionals, who aren't, in your words, not mine, and not you, Jazmine, the audience. In your words, not ours, who's not ratchet. I like this show. I like the cast. They're beautiful Black professionals. They're not boring to me. They know how to get down without getting down in the Natalie Nunn way. Hey, Natalie. I like it, but it appears that you guys aren't watching it, and I want to know why.
I'm so pissed at people not watching this show. I really, really enjoy Summer House, Martha's Vineyard. I watched the original Summer House and I liked that too for a time, and then I stopped watching that. But I really like Summer House, Martha's Vineyard, and it pains me because a lot of the critiques that I'm seeing about the show have nothing to actually do with the show. Like
What are
I've
they
been on.
saying?
Oh my god, let me tell you, you girls, I've been seeing, I'm scrolling through TikTok, scrolling. You know, when you get on TikTok, you're on TikTok for hours. I'm scrolling. I'm coming across Martha's Vineyard and they're trying to read the cast for how they look, how they dress. I saw somebody say, I mean, Jordan is cute, but her hair and her outfits, I'm like, babe, what? Because she's not on there with a 40-inch bust down with the baby hair. Like, what's wrong with the way Jordan looks? But I'll tell you what's wrong with the way Jordan looks. Jordan walked in that house, and every man in that house was like, that's the one. The only two men in the house that weren't at her feet, Silas, because he's married, and Preston, because she's not his tea.
Period.
Okay. Every other man in that house was like, oh no, Jordan, that's the one. Drop dead gorgeous. And so I feel like it's a little bit of hating. Okay. Yes. I feel you girls are coming off a little jealous for Jordan.
Ooh.
And I will say toward the rest of the cast too. Like I enjoy them. They have quirks about them that I'm unsure about, but it's the first season of a show that is coming off the back of like a big white cast show, right? So there are going to be some kinks for us to work out. I think Bria had a lot of potential as a villain, but she really disappointed me because she's too damn sensitive to be a villain. She cannot handle it. I think Jazmine, amazing. She speaks like a Black Twitter activist all the time. She speaks in Black Twitter, but it's not completely off-putting for me because I clocked her. I'm like, okay, this is Black excellence. I come to the Vineyard. I'm this, I'm that. I see who you want to be, and I'm gonna support you in becoming that. Okay, I'm gonna support you. And so yeah, they have quirks about them that I'm like, all right, but it's fun enough. Like when they had that episode and they were doing like the field games, Carlos, I was watching TV like
Me too.
that was so fun. And that's the thing that TV has been missing for me in particular. And as someone who is creating content, right? I want to create content that feels fun for our people and that like just shows us doing like mundane everyday things and having fun, going to Martha's Vineyard, playing on the beach with our friends, drinking, eating. Like I want to see our people just living.
No,
No
I
agenda.
listen. I could not agree more. But this is why, and this is no shade. This is why I don't look at Twitter to tell me how to do a show, and
Yeah.
because y'all listen. Twitter is, child. Let's say social media because I want to group them all together. It's a hellscape of people who is determined to say the nastiest things because that's what gets reposted, right? Yep. You guys don't want a show without drama. Y'all don't. Y'all don't. Y'all can say y'all do. Y'all can say, why do Black people gotta... Y'all do not want a show without drama. Jazmine, I didn't tell you this. I'm telling you now. I spoke to members of my family, my employees, some of them, and my friends. And I asked them, are you watching Summer House? They all said no. And I said, why not? They said, it's okay. I said, be real with me. Drama. Some of them said we need some drama. And some of them said, well, it's because when it comes to this cast, I just feel like I want to see some real, this is what some of these people said, some real Black folks get into it. Listen.
Are they fake Black? Oh, Carlos.
I'm telling you what it is. Listen, I did my due diligence because I don't live in a bubble. I create shows based on, of course, how I feel in the moment, but I also want to create shows that I know represents what I'm trying to do, but also, let's be clear, you don't write a book and don't want people to read it. So I create shows that I want people to watch, period. A lot of these people are watching Zeus. Someone said to me who is in their 40s and 50s, they're watching Zeus and they love Blueface and Krishan. and they said it's because it's real and it's dramatic. And I'm curious in terms of what the audience are saying they want on Twitter or social media, but when it's time to go home and you are by yourself and there's no cameras around, you want drama. That's what you want. And I do think I'm gonna end with this in terms of Summer House from my vantage point. I love Summer House. I love the cast. I think the show is fine. I think it's enough drama for me, but I'm also of a certain age.
But I am so annoyed that someone said they want to see real Black people. What the fuck are the people on Summer House Martha's Vineyard? Fake Black people? Because they're not fighting and like pulling each other. And I'll raise you one. They do have drama on the show. They start literally day one. Like they have drama on the show. What? Oh,
I'm telling you.
Heated. I'm heated. I'm heated for real. I'm heated. Real Black people. You know why I'm so heated, Carlos? Because this is something we could talk off camera about this. But I've in my lifetime, by my own family members, been called like not a fake Black person, but I've been the underlying read of them saying that is something that I'm very familiar with. And I'm just really annoyed by that because what is a real Black person? And it's this thing we want to argue. We're not monolithic. We don't want other people to group us all in, but we're getting variations of each other and it's not real enough. And like I said, it's no shade to Zeus because my sister loves Zeus. There's an audience for Zeus.
Absolutely.
I will never down that, right? It's not for me. But that's real to you? That's real Black people?
Listen, before I take this podcast, and again, I didn't speak to a bunch of Black people. That's why I said I spoke to a select few, and that was a comment. I don't want to make it clear. That was a comment one person made. I want to make that very clear. It wasn't like a lot of people. But I just wanted to tell you exactly what was the feedback that I received as I was asking the question, because I wanted to get prepared for this episode because I like Summer House. I love Amir. I love Nick. I love Silent. I love all the cast members. I feel like what we're watching is so real. And again, I'm just being honest. It goes to show you that you can, and I'm talking to content creators like yourself, like me, and everybody in the world. You can't create something to please people. Mm-hmm. You have to create content to please yourself. That this is what I would want to watch, and I'm gonna be honest, but also what other people are going to watch. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, right? You don't know what people are going to gravitate towards or not. I love Summer House. I would love for it to come back. I love the cast. I want to see Nick's girlfriend. I want to see.
She needs to dump his ass, by the way. But go ahead. I hope she watched that episode and dumped his ass right then and there.
Yes, I loved it because it's funny. I'm gonna say this one last thing. My favorite character on the show is Nick, and I'm gonna say to you all why. You have never seen, at least I haven't, and tell me if I'm wrong. On a reality show, you have never seen the Nick type on reality TV. I know, we all know the Black straight guy who is into his looks, into his clothes, bougie, and looks and judges other people. When I say to you, I love Nick, he reminds me of the Black guys from a certain fraternity I went to college with who
100%.
would look at me like, child, you are not worthy of hanging out with us. So I love the fact that Nick isn't loud. He's my favorite because I have never seen somebody get represented. And I feel like he represents a lot of men from this, I'm not going to say the name, from a certain fraternity that I tried to be a part of. And because I was openly gay, they kicked me out. But anyways.
Oh my God.
We'll talk about that another time.
That y'all need your asses whooped. Y'all know who we talking to. I'm sorry that happened to you. That's
That's
awful.
all good. Oh, honey, don't cry for me, Argentina. They get to watch me. But anywho, I want people to watch it, and it deserves to get a second season.
Absolutely. I echo your sentiments. I think they do a phenomenal job of just showing a different experience of black people, and it's the first season. Like, we have to give shows, like you said this before, you don't think any housewife should be a one season housewife, right?
No.
It's the same with a lot of these shows. It's like, we shouldn't just kick them off after one season. Like, let them grow legs, let them kind of evolve into the shows that they'll become, because the first season of the regular summer house, the white summer house, right, because we call this one the black summer house, the first season of the white summer house, it became a different show as well, right? And I think they just need a little bit of time to grow. But I'm with you. I'm watching Summer House. Now, Summer House is a show I don't forget to watch. My friends don't have to remind me to watch Summer House. I remember to watch that, and I will keep doing that.
And of course, you have to end with shade, and I'm gonna end with shade too. Y'all be telling us to watch Succession. I tried watching the first season and I fell asleep after the second episode. But here y'all go. And these are black people. I mean, wait till season 2, it gets good. I cannot create a show and y'all tell me wait until season 2 before it gets good. Y'all would give Succession some grace, but y'all don't want to give black shows any grace. Y'all call DC boring the first season. Listen, y'all do it to me and my shows, but y'all want to tell me up and down, watch Succession, is really good. I'm not watching it. If you don't grab me the first season.
Succession is interesting because, people have been saying to watch it. I tried to watch it as well. It was boring to me, but Succession isn't about the amount of people that watch it. Succession is about the type of people who are watching it. So they're not even HBO's highest rated show, right? They get like a quarter, like a fraction of what like House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones got, right? I don't have a source to back that up, but I have read it before. Maybe it was the Wrap. It was a trade that I read, like publication that I read it in. They're not even HBO's highest rated shows. It's the type of people. It's that type of person who kind of would be in that world of like the kids in Succession, the children in Succession, the people who work in entertainment, right? Kind of the big wigs in entertainment and in journalism. They're watching it, and so they're writing about it, and so it seems like a bigger show than it is. It didn't grab me, and I tried to watch it on multiple occasions. It just didn't do anything for me. Now, if it gets good in the second season, I'll never know.
Me neither, honey. Y'all need to watch Power. How about that?
Look, but we don't have to pit, we don't have to put two bad bitches against each other. We don't have to pit two bad bitches against each other. They can exist. The people that like Succession can like Succession. I love The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, right? Like, for me, that is a show everybody needs to get into. But I'm not gonna, find another show that's about a woman comedian or whatever and pit them against each other.
Right.
We don't have to do that. You can
That's
like
true.
Power. You can like Zeus. You can like Bravo.
Shout out to Lemia Plummer, the owner of Zeus. I know him. He's a good guy. And look, at the end of the day, he found a lane that is working. There's a sector of people who want to see that, and kudos to y'all. Absolutely. I love it, and I love it for him, and I love it for all of the people involved. I love it. I really, and that's not shade. I love that he's found a lane that is working, because clearly people are watching it.
Prayers up to everyone.
All right, Jazz. Now look, I know you're the type of girl who don't want people following you, although y'all do anyway, and y'all be finding Jazmine, honey, on social media. So if you want to or not, let them know they can find you, follow you, or support you in any kind of way.
So listen, I think I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. So follow my YouTube channel, and yeah,
it's about damn time.
Yeah. I have so much fun doing this with you. And I'm like, I have so many random thoughts and opinions on various things. And I'm like, I think it's time. Because other people, not outside of a few people from your audience who have asked where can we watch your YouTube channel? People in my personal life have been saying you need to do that. And so I'm gonna give it a shot. And if you guys want to follow me, amazing. If not, that's okay too.
Can I be your first, not first episode, but when you decide to have a guest, can I be your first guest?
You think you weren't going to be? Please. Listen, one thing about Jazmine, she's gonna call in a favor.
That's true now. She ain't lying about that. That is so breaking news. Okay, so guys, follow Jazmine. When she gets her YouTube, we're all gonna watch and support. And this is, oh my God, that makes me so happy because, and I'm gonna end with this, because you have a voice that's needed to be heard as a Black woman in this climate. And the one thing that I know about Jazz personally, Jazmine just isn't a reality TV junkie. She has an opinion, and boy, does she. She has an opinion on everything. So I'm looking forward to this. And listen, on the record, off the record, you can call me for advice anytime because I want to help you the way DJ Richie Sky helped me get my YouTube started. And as Black people in this business, we have to look out for each other. So I want to pay it forward like Richie Sky did it for me. I will do it for you. Whatever you need, just let me know.
Oh, and I know you will. I'm no question about that. Thank you so much. But yes, guys, my YouTube channel is just J Henley Brown. I think that's how YouTube works. I don't know. It's just J Henley Brown or like Jazmine Henley Brown with a Z, because y'all were calling me Jazmine with an S. And I let it slide, but it's Jazmine. But yeah, thank you.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button. In Jazmine's case, the notification, because she's educated. And we will see you for another recap soon, because I'm obviously going to invite Jazmine back for something special that she doesn't know yet. All right. Love y'all, Raindrops. See y'all soon.